So we're into the third part of the series, Generation to Generation, the stories of the first four family dynasty in the Bible: Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph, the first four patriarchs. Today I want to talk about Jacob in Genesis chapter 32. So after 20 years of living abroad, working for his uncle Laban, Jacob is returning home, bringing everything he has gained, his wives, children, and servants, and wealth, coming home to meet his family, his parents, and his estranged brother Esau. Now, before he meets his brother, he sends servants ahead of him, checking out what his brother is up to. The servants came back and said, "Your brother is coming to greet you with 400 men." Now, this makes Jacob very afraid, terrified, fearful for his life, and scared of what his brother might do. So he tries to appease his brother by sending gifts ahead of him. And he stays back on the muddy bank of Yabbok River. And on that evening, he gets into a wrestling match against none other than God, disguised as a stranger. Now, two words seems to best describe Jacob: fighter and fugitive. You see, Jacob has been a fighter all throughout his life, since his birth. Now, what did he fight for? He fought for his top prize, the birthright and the firstborn's blessing to be the next patriarch. That was his main goal as he was growing up. His entire life story earlier was about pursuing that goal and fighting to get the top prize. And he used all the tricks in the bag to get it. He deceived and he tricked and was able to steal the prize from his brother. But at the top of his success, top of his accomplishment, when he finally reached his dream, he found himself on the run. Jacob was a fugitive, running for his life, running away from his brother, running and leaving behind all that he has accomplished. Everything he fought for crumbled down. His mother sent him away to his uncle's place to escape the fury of his brother Esau. So he ran empty-handed. A fighter became a fugitive. And Jacob encountered God on the way to his uncle's house, and God made a covenant with him, confirming his place beside Abraham and Isaac, the next patriarch. But Jacob didn't really change. Same Jacob, fighting to get another top prize, and this time to win the love of his life, Rachel. So he fought and struggled again, and this time against his own uncle, outsmarting him. And along the way, he won his dream girl, accumulated great wealth, a big family with a big household of servants and maids. But at the top of his success, Jacob runs again, away from his own uncle, a fugitive again. This time he kept all what he has accumulated, but later he will exchange for his life. Jacob was a fighter, fought all his life for the top prize, but he would lose it all at the end and found himself running away, running scared at the top of his success. So, what are we fighting for? What are we running away from? Someone said that life is a series of battles, and you fight to win the battles. The problem is, many people are fighting the wrong fights on the wrong battlefields. Someone said Christians should rise up and fight for Christ, to win the world for Christ. The problem has been that many Christians and Christian churches fought against the wrong opponents on the wrong battlefields with the wrong weapons. I'm going to be a bit harsh on Christians today. You see, when the Western Christianity sent out the missionaries around the world, they thought they were carrying out the Great Commission from the risen Jesus to be his witness to the ends of the earth. That's what they thought. But the missionaries went with the mercenaries and the militaries together. The gospel of Jesus Christ came with the goods and the guns. The Christian missionaries came with a Western colonial empire around the world to expand its kingdom. While the Western colonial empire fought and conquered and captured the native people and colonized their land and culture with the guns and the goods, the Christian missionaries converted the natives and established a Christendom West in the native world, and build the churches on the ground of the conquered people. We came and conquered the world in the name of God, in the name of good news of Jesus Christ. The Christianity has become a symbol of the Western colonial empire. And now we have been on the run, trying to hide our past, trying to hide our guilt, trying to undo the damages we have wrought from the battles we should never, ever have waged. Fighting for Christ ended up causing so much hurt and brokenness around the world, in the lives of innocent people and children. We thought we have gained the word for Christ, but didn't realize how many innocent souls and lives we have lost in the process. Jesus said, "For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world, but lose his soul?" We fought the wrong fights, entered the wrong battlefields against the wrong opponents with the wrong weapons, and now we are running scared. Jacob was in the wrong battles all along, against the wrong enemies, fought for the top prize, but ended up losing it all and running scared. But now, for the first time in his life, Jacob is not running away, not scared. He is running into the very source of his fear, meeting his estranged brother Esau and preparing to face him. Jacob is facing the greatest fight of his lifetime, and this time he fights differently than before, because he knew it was a different battle, a real battle, a proper battle, the battle he was called upon to fight well. And this is how he received blessings, because every good fight ends in blessing. And this is how we fight the good fight. When you face the fight of your lifetime, you've got to be honest with yourself. Got to be honest with yourself. Jacob is all alone, all by himself in the middle of the night, and then a stranger comes and wrestles with him. And the fight lasts all through the night and continues until dawn. And the stranger says in the night, he says, "What is your name?" Jacob says, "My name is Jacob." The name Jacob means the one who grabbed the heel of other, deceiver, trickster. The stranger, God in disguise, knew who Jacob was, but God wanted Jacob to know who Jacob was. For him to face himself, to come clean, to come to terms with himself, to really see himself in the mirror. "What is your name?" "My name is Jacob. My father did not like me. My brother cannot stand me. My mother sent me away." "What is your name?" "My name is Jacob. If I cannot be loved, at least I'll be in control." "What is your name?" "My name is Jacob. Driven, deceitful, successful, powerful, lonely, and afraid. Jacob needed to see himself fully, come clean, and come to terms with himself, come to face with all his ugliness, and accept all his shortcomings. What is your name? Yes, my name is Jacob, the deceiver. God asked Adam and Eve, where are you? They were hiding behind the bush, wearing fig leaves, hiding away from God. And God asked, where are you? God knew where Adam and Eve were. God is saying, what have you done? Where are you in my heart? Am I still in your hearts and your life? God is asking them to come clean, to face their sins, to be honest with themselves. You see, much of our battles are against ourselves. The fight is not out there, but often within. The one who needs to be defeated is our own. We need to face ourselves, to take a long and hard look at ourselves in the mirror. Who am I really? Whose am I really? Jacob fought against himself. In a way, the stranger in the night was the stranger whom he never faced, the stranger whom he never owned up to, the stranger whom he never liked, Jacob himself. And Jacob met that stranger for the first time. You see, in every good fight, God asks, what is your name? Who are you? Whose are you? In your own battles and struggles, what do you need to come to terms with? What names do you need to own up to and need to offer to God? In light of recent horrible discovery of the mass grave of indigenous children at Kamloops Residential School, we as Christians and Christian churches need to come to terms with ourselves, with our history. We need to take a long and hard look at ourselves in a mirror. What names do we need to own up to and need to offer to God? When you are facing the fight of your lifetime, you've got to be honest with yourself. And Jacob never gave in, never let go. You see, when you are in a good fight, in the fight of your lifetime, you never ever want to give up or give in, no matter what, not until you receive your blessings. Remember, every good fight ends in blessing. It begins with a blessing, it continues in blessing, and it ends with blessings. Whatever ways blessing come to us, every good fight is filled with blessings because God is in between our struggles and our fights. So we don't give up or we don't let go. Jacob did not give in, even when his hip socket was being dislocated during the fight. Now, I have no idea how painful it is to experience getting your hip socket dislocated, but it sounds excruciating and not something you want, especially when you are in a fight. Now, according to doctors, hip dislocation is very painful. Patients cannot move the leg, and if there is nerve damage, it may not have any feeling in the foot or ankle area. In other words, you don't want your hip socket dislocated no matter what. I finished moving 2 weeks ago from a rental apartment to a condo apartment. People say moving is the most stressful and tiring thing there is. Well, I don't mind moving. It's what I'm used to as church minister. I think I moved my place about 10 times in the last 25 years in my ministry. So I'm used to moving. But as I get older, it gets harder. My body does not want to move as easily as before. My legs are not as strong. Sometimes I hear creaking sounds in my joints when I lift heavy boxes, and often feel my knee joint give in when I ascend the stairs carrying boxes. This time, after moving was done, every bone, every muscle, and every joint in my body ached, even my hips. And I ordered to myself that I will never move again. But if I ever do, I will let my children to do the heavy liftings. I was fortunate that my son was here to help me. He had no problem lifting and no complaint about body aches. Me, it required like about a week of rest to get back to running again to a normal physical condition. Let me tell you folks, moving is a fight and battle I would never want to face again. I'm fortunate that I didn't dislocate my joints, any joints in my body, although it felt like my entire body was being dislocated from too much lifting and carrying boxes, but my body held up. There's no dislocation, no limping, just a lot of aches all over. Jacob's hip socket was dislocated during the fight. He was disabled, painful, wounded, and limping, but he still fought until he received the blessing from God. He didn't give in. He held his own, stood firm, and made demands of God, and God blessed him. Sometimes this is what faith comes down to, just hanging on and digging in. Isn't this how it has been in your life? You've had hard times when you were ready to throw in the towel, but you didn't. You hung on, determined to make it through, to make something of your life. You just hung on by your fingernails because that's what life demands, and that's what God demands of us. Winston Churchill gave a commencement address during the height of World War II. That big barrel of a man stood up and repeated this well-known message in his closing remark of the speech. He said, "Never give in. Never give in. Never, 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 never. In nothing great or small, large or petty, never give in." People remember what he said. Now, why did it strike such a note in the minds of the people? Because that's what life demands. That's the way life must be lived, and we know that God approves this kind of determination and honors it and blesses it. Never give in. Every good fight comes with a blessing. It doesn't matter who you are, your station in life, or how high the steeple is, it comes down to this. Hold on, stand firm, and don't ever give in. Keep on asking, and it will be given. Keep on seeking, and you will find. Keep on knocking, and the door will be opened to you. The stranger, God finally blesses Jacob. You're not Jacob anymore. I give you a new name, Israel, which means God prevails. And that's how the nation Israel was truly born, from Jacob to Israel, fighting a good fight, even prevailed God. For that, Israel is limping, the sign of humility, the symbol of blessing, the mark of honor, the honorable wound, the humble scar. So the next day, Israel is crossing the river, limping along, and meets his brother. His brother Esau sees Jacob, now limping and dirty, downcasted and worn out. And Esau embraces Jacob and forgives him.